What has been your biggest mistake, and what has been your lowest moment, especially as a leader?
The first instance, I ended up shouting on my junior, and it came out wrongly. And what did I do? I had to close my office and start asking myself, Vincent.
Close yourself in the office?
I closed the office and asked myself, am I really competent enough to do this? I felt bad, though what I did later, I called the staff and I apologized.
Oh, you did? You apologized?
I apologized because I felt, okay, I want to pretend to be a good person. You have just been promoted as a leader. You don't want to collide with anyone. Yeah. There is one company, then I was not a first-time manager, but I believe that was the biggest mistake I
You're still in leadership?
Till today, I still feel. Okay, you go to a company, you have not understood the culture of how things operate. And then I used to be very talkative, and then nowadays I learn to hold my words. And the biggest mistake I did is to discuss my boss with my junior.
What's up, guys? I hope you've been well. It's been a minute since I was behind the cameras, but now I'm back, bigger and better. We took a short break. I think the last time I posted a video was 8 weeks or 6 weeks ago, but I'm happy to be back. And today I'm back with a very interesting conversation, with a powerful session that I know you guys don't want to miss. So today's conversation is revolving around leadership and leadership in the workplace. And to be more specific, the conversation is about first-time managers. So I'm here in studio with a guest, and we are going to speak everything you need to know as a first-time manager. So are you a first-time manager out there wondering how to, you've just gotten into your first management role. You're wondering how to manage people. You're wondering how to give feedback. You're wondering how to navigate the entire and new life that you've just entered into. So don't let your promotion be a pain for you. This is a conversation that you want to hear if you want to become better at leading people. So allow me to welcome the guest of the day, who is going to walk us through this conversation that I'm sure you don't want to miss. So Vincent, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for honoring my invite, and welcome to Careers with Nelly podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them who you are, what you do, before we get into the conversation.
Hi guys, my name is Vincent Munderu. I'm credit and operational specialist and the founder of Debt Champions.
Good. So thank you so much, Vincent. And guys, we're just getting into it. We want to make it as conversational as possible. We want to make it as deep for you as possible. And we want to make it as relatable as possible. So, Vincent, I think before we start off, or just as we start off, we want to get to understand your journey and your experience. Of course, before you got into management, I want you to just give us a brief of your previous roles. Where did you start your career? What did you do until we get to the point now you got into your first leadership role?
Okay, thank you so much. My first job I got was working with one of the leading microfinance as a business development officer. And the role entails training, credit operations when it comes to dealing with the women of this country. And I was able to do it for like 3 years. And then later, at the age of 27, I got the first position, being a manager. And at that time, it was not something that I had planned it for, but a vacant came out when one of our supervisors, one of the managers, resigned for the position, and I had to come and fill in the position.
So thank you so much for that, Vincent. And you're saying you became a manager at the age of 27. Talk to us more about that. And my follow-up questions around that would be, at the age of 27, number one, how did your manager or how did the leadership trust you? Because I know one of the things that young people struggle with, or maybe people who are just getting into first management role, is age. I would call it discrimination due to age. In some organizations, management roles are are left for a certain age. They'll tell you you're young and all that. So how did the leadership trust you with a management role, with a leadership position at just the age of 27?
Thank you so much. The most crucial thing that made me being given the position of a manager, first of all, I was very active at work, very competent when it comes to target achievements and doing the roles assigned. But now when I was given now the position of the manager, the key issue that came out now, I got first of all the shock of having that uncertainty of making decisions, and also the expectation of the team that you are leading who happen to be your peers. So that was the first shock I experienced. And then the most other crucial thing which I faced was no one came and told me the expectation of leadership. So have you seen like baptism by fire?
Yeah.
You are just there. You've been given a position, drive the seat, and in one way or the other make some mistakes here and there, and you keep on learning from the job. But I felt, okay, probably if I was given the position and then being taken through some sort of an induction or having a mentor, it could have been a very easier way of me settling down. But to be frank with you, the first 2 months, it was hard.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about your experience. First, from now managing your peers, there were those peers, your friends, the people you go out for lunch with every other day. And sometimes I say, even the people that you guys, you sit in some corridor talking about the boss, wale wenye mlikuwa mnasengenya na boss. So you're there and now you're their leader. So how did you convince them that, you know what? And now I'm your leader, and we're no longer going to talk about the boss because now you're the boss,
Sure.
But at least if they have to talk about you, then they have to talk about you with someone else.
Sure.
So talk to us about the transition for you, especially from coming to the point where now you're managing your peers.
When in leadership, like when you're given a position, and that's what I first of all try to deal with it. First of all, you focus on what matters. When it comes, like since it was a financial institution, you first of all focus on the core business and the expectation when it comes to target and achievement and everything. But now, for you to be able to break the ice, you have to make it still be relational with them. Let them understand the whole objective of what you want to achieve and the core business of the company, of what you are working for, was the underlying issue. But to be frank with you, it had to take time. You find some of the peers are not respecting you because you are free within them.
They're used to you.
But at that situation, what you need to do, what I used to do, is to have a sit down with them and tell them, now, things change. And then you respect the position. You may not respect me, we are friends, but now you have to respect the position I'm holding. And the bottom line also, let's look on the bigger picture. We are here to work, and this is the expectation of the job. Yeah.
So you've talked about, talking to them, telling them now, even if you don't respect the person, but respect the position. I just want you to dive deep a bit into how you manage to create boundaries. As much as you're now my boss, but we've been so used to each other for the last 3 years. We tunapanda matatu pamoja. We are going for lunch. We are talking about everyone together. So how did you manage to create very solid boundaries?
One thing that has worked for me, these people are my friends. First of all, is talking to each other. Let them understand, okay, my failure as a leader is like failure for all of us. And the first thing, if you are, the way I was very rational with my team, they could feel, okay, we need to support you for you to succeed.
Yeah.
And in the process of supporting me to succeed, there, of course, every company has rules and regulations, has to be followed. So most of the time we had to be firm with them and also be, why will I say, conversational with them. Even if you are going to punish someone for the sake of someone has not followed rules and regulation, for the first days I had to give a justification. To say, you are my friend, but now you have done ABC.
Yeah, you've crossed the line.
You have crossed the line.
Yeah.
But as we proceeded with time, we could not now again negotiate. They know the expectation. And The first 2 months, it was a little bit hard, especially when it comes to enforcing rules and regulations. And it even reached a point whereby I had to seek now the assistance of the top management to come on board and to make my team members to understand. But with the time, progressed, pole, until now they understood, okay, Vincent is our leader, we have to respect him, we have to respect the position, and also we have to work. But something else I came to realize, if I was not a competent employee, and if I was not following up rules and regulation, it could have been very hard for me to be their leader. So sometimes, like what I said, how I got my position, I got it out of, was competent, I was a role model. So even sitting up in the leadership position, it was easier for me, one or the other, because there are so many people who are looking up to me.
So again, also being competent, irrespective of your age, opened the door for you. Yeah. So I think you're bringing out a very important aspect. It doesn't matter how old you are. Competence, as long as you're competent enough to do the job. So the marketplace is appreciating competency over things around age and all that.
That's very true. That's very true. There is issue of competence, and also, how will I say it? The issue of how do you relate with people? Because being a leader, you are a people's person. It's not more, there is the position and there is what you're expected to do, but also the key issue is they are the people you are leading. So, for my case, when I was appointed as the leader, most of my staff, colleagues, they were happy.
They were happy for you?
Happy for me the first days, because they felt, okay, one of us.
There was no like jealousy, competition,
No jealousy or competition, because I used to support the previous manager who was there. But they were happy since they say, okay, one of us has been promoted. But now when it came now to enforcing laws and regulation, it come to discipline and everything, they will be feeling,
what is he telling me?
So in such a time, that's where now you start resettlement and everything. And that's why now you have to become a voice of reason. Be firm, bold, and give reasons, especially for them to be able to see the bigger picture. And I'll be able to say, I was able to settle down and deliver.
Okay. Let me ask you another question, just around that still. I know you've talked about you being competent, but especially as a first-time leader or a first-time manager, did you have some sort of self-doubt? Are there points you reached? Are there points you reach or instances where you feel like, no, I'm not up to the game? Did you second-guess yourself?
I did.
Tell us about it.
When it comes to making critical decisions and the period of uncertainty, you are expected, now you need to make a decision and it is done. In such a time, I used to even self-doubt myself. You are supposed to make a decision on something, okay? You asked, boss, what do you say about it? You get shocked. Kumbe, I'm the one who's supposed to give out the direction.
So you felt like these decisions are too high for me.
They're too high
I'm not yet.
And sometimes, what I used to do the first day, before I make a decision, I could consult my senior. There is something has happened, ABCD. I think I need to do ABCD. So what happened with my senior? The first day, they gave me the direction. The second day, I have never forgotten that he told me, you are the manager. Why are you calling me? So at that time, I felt, now I need to make a decision, because, and I have come to live with it. Leadership is you make a decision and you own them up. And you have to be wise enough to make a critical decision for the well-being of the organization, and also something that will be able to be followed by your juniors.
Okay. So I think that is that's really usually one of the challenges. You've gotten into that position. There are so many things that you begin to say about yourself that really make you doubt yourself. I'm young. I'm not much experienced as these people, because I know you're getting into this position and sometimes you're leading people who are much more experienced. Because you've just told us that you worked for 3 years, then you got into a leadership position.
Yeah.
So just after 3 years in the workplace, you're already a leader. So there's honestly high possibilities of having a self-doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So as we move on, we want you now to just give us your experience. I know you've said the first 2 months were tough for you.
Sure.
Maybe what do you mean by tough? What was the experience exactly these 2 months? And help us understand if did your view about leadership change? For example, before we get into a leadership position, you had a boss. And sometimes people feel like, Kwani, what is my boss doing? I've had people complain like, no, we're the ones who've been doing the reports. We're always sending emails, until you get there, it is easy to think that your boss is not doing anything because you're doing reports you're doing the work you're sending to them, you're doing this. So you feel like, as a leader or as a manager, you deliver through people. So did you really find that that is the case as a boss now? Kulikuwa na kazi?
I love that question. I remember we used to blame the boss. Anything you complain the boss. Why is he not doing things?
Why is he not doing? Why is he sending me?
So when I came to the position, now the complaints are directed to me. So it took me time to start owning it up. So at that time you feel, whoa, I know this position is simple. And especially being in a financial institution, there's a lot of expectation.
Yes.
There's a lot of reports, giving the issue of strategy, and they also owning up on, that I would be say, the first time leader, I really struggled, owning up on the mistakes of my juniors. If you are anyone who make a mistake,
we say taking the heat for them, right?
Taking the heat for them. And then sometimes, especially when talking about targets and everything, there is a lot of pressure from the senior management. And now you cannot direct it to your juniors. They are going to revolt. So at that time, taking the hit for the team members, those 2 months, it was a little bit tough.
The way you receive the hot information from the top, package it to a way that if you give it to them, they're not going to crash.
They are not going to crash. And the first day, I remember when it happened, in financial institutions, you have issue of targets and everything. Numbers are not working out. You have just come from a management meeting. Very hot meeting. And then after that, you now need to meet your team members. The first instance, I ended up shouting on my junior and it came out wrongly. And what did I do? I had to close my office and start asking myself, Vincent.
Close yourself in the office?
I closed the office and asked myself, am I really competent enough to do this? I felt bad, though what I did later, I called the staff and I apologized.
Oh, you did? You apologized?
I apologized because I felt, okay, I want to pretend to be a good person. You have just been promoted as a leader. You don't want to collide with anyone. Because as a person, I felt, okay, I should not have shouted to her. I need now to contain myself. Regardless of the pressure I receive, I need now to contain myself. And going forward now, I was able to manage, regardless of how much heat you get, you still talk with your team members. In a way, they understand because I felt like the first 2 months, like being a leader is like being tough on them. They have to know, but it really backfired. But after some time, I knew now I have to be conversational with them. I have to tell them to share the vision, and I have to support them. And now from there, we really worked well, and I felt okay. Now I'm a leader. I
really love what you've talked about. First, I love the aspect of apologizing. Humility. So maybe just what made you to apologize? At the end of it all, you are the boss. I've said what I've said. What made you to apologize? I know you've told me you locked yourself up in a room just to think about whether you're leading them well or not. And getting yourself shouting to your juniors, it's not news. We see it every other day. Managers shouting. So maybe tell us what made you apologize. Is it a value issue? Like is it who you are, or is it because you wanted to appear as a good leader?
First thing, I felt my staff did not deserve to be shouted at.
So you were able to recognize that you are unfair to them?
I recognized, okay, what that action was not as a leader, you should not do it. And secondly, when you're talking about empathy, you look at yourself. What if I'm that stuff? How could I have felt? And then this is someone I'll be working with each and every day. I want to clear that thing first, so that when even we are talking about I need this expectation, I felt as a leader, it was good for me to just acknowledge the way I approach my staff was not the best thing. For the betterment of, so that even in future, because in one of the companies I was shouted at, and I really felt bad. So when I found myself I've shouted as an employee, I remembered that trigger came
what
back.
Somebody did to you.
Did to me. I felt, no, this is not good, and I had to apologize.
Wow.
And from there we were among, she was among the best employee, very motivated, supporting my work, and it went on very well.
Good. Yeah. I think that's quite interesting.
Sure.
And I really love the fact that you realize that you've done a mistake and you're bold enough to go back. Because in most cases what happens is that a leader will do a mistake. Anyway, maybe in their own time as a human being, like you sat down and realized that you did a mistake. They're old, but somebody will be asking themselves like, how would I appear? How would I appear to them? Si nitaonekana mdogo sana. You know, we want to be mighty.
Sure.
Yeah. So I just want to link that with my next question. To you, what does good leadership, the link between good leadership and good output? You've just mentioned that the way you apologized to her, you made it. You made your relationship with your juniors very conversational, consulting them, and even this lady that you apologized to, she became among the top performers in the team. So there could be some direct link between being a good leader and what your team is able to produce. Maybe just talk to us about that, especially in your own experience.
In my own experience, I'll be able to say the most mistake as a leader, first of all, you should be focusing on your people whom you're leading. Sometimes they have the structure and the expectations. But the most crucial thing as a leader, you should focus on the people you are leading. If they buy your vision and you understand their needs, they'll be able now to help you achieve even the overall goal of the organization. And I came to realize, let me still go back when I was the first manager. I used to be focused on, this is the target, this is what you're supposed to do. No negotiation.
No nothing.
No nothing. And things became wayward. Nothing is moving. So now I have to sit down. Okay, let me understand my team first. And when you understand them, you'll be able to see this one need training, this one need coaching, this one need to be reprimanded. When you're able now, when I say a leader is like people-centered, when you're able to understand the team you're leading, now even achieving the objective is easier. Because especially in financial institutions, the market is changing. You have dynamics every day. Sometimes you may be able to say the decision, what you need to do, the ideas is with your staff. So if you are not given that opportunity to communicate, their opinion, and understand them, you will not be able to achieve. And for me, everywhere I've been able to lead, the first thing is the people I'm leading. Because if you are not able to understand them and sell your vision to them, you're not going to be able to achieve the overall objective. So for me, when it comes to leadership, is about the people you are leading and the issue of how do you, when you understand them, then how do you communicate the vision to them of what you want us to achieve. And now from there, it became very easy to lead, and also because most of the time, even if you are a leader somewhere, you are given targets to achieve. And who help you to achieve the targets?
The people.
The people you are leading. Until they own up your vision and you understand them, you will not be able to achieve. And I've come to realize the most conflict between managers and their juniors comes from there. You are leading a team and they are on their own. You're in different directions. But first of all, let the team, as you share the vision, also understand the team you are leading, because human beings have different temperaments by them. If you're able now to know how to deal with them, this one is for conversational, this one is for you to be firm, and this one is for you to motivate. There are those people who have been motivated for them to work. If all of them are able to understand them, and now you communicate your vision as a team, you'll be able now to lead, and it will be very easy.
Wow, I think I like that. So at the center or at the top of every pyramid of your success as a leader is the people. Getting to understand the people, so I'm getting them to buy into your vision.
Sure.
And do we always get that right? What do you think? Do leaders always get that right?
No. No.
I think I agree with you.
No. I believe as a leader, even you yourself, you need to understand yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When I started leading, I came to realize I have had temper issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to work for myself first, because someone may offend you, find yourself, you're over the roof.
Yeah.
So and I had now to learn how will I call it, emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Get to know how to manage yourself, self-awareness, and also to understand the team you are leading, because I'll be able to say most leaders don't have that emotional intelligence. And by this I mean, if you have that emotional intelligence, be able to know issue, where do you develop empathy, how do you understand your team, and at that time, all of you will be able to move in one direction. But if you don't have that emotional intelligence, it will become very hard for you to lead the team. Because I know cases of institutional branches whereby you find a leader is, you are a leader, but you are like, will I say a supervisor?
Mm-hmm.
You're working to just supervise the team.
Supervise, direct,
you don't
give
care
instructions.
how things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the present day leadership doesn't allow that. And the current employees you are leading, that one will not work. It's a place whereby you have conversational, you reason, and still you are firm as your custodian of the corporate culture, company culture, and rules and regulation and the targets that need to be achieved. But at the same time, be conversational with the team you are leading for them to be able to buy your vision.
Wow. That's very deep. I think I will digest that further. That's very deep and very important. So thank you so much, Vincent. And a very important question that I would also want is just to get your experience. Of course, most first-time managers, if not all, people want to shine. And of course, it is not just first-time managers alone. Leaders want to shine. And I think for first-time managers, it's even intense because, you have to prove yourself.
You have to prove yourself.
Someone has trusted you.
Never made a mistake.
Yes. You didn't make a mistake. Because sometimes you've also been promoted at a point where so many people are were eyeing that role even internally. So you want to prove yourself. So I want you to tell us, how did you balance this desire to prove yourself and the just building your team and also helping your team shine? Because as a leader, maybe just tell us, how many people did you start leading? What was the number of the team?
10.
10. Yeah. 10 is a big number. So how did you help this team of 10 to also shine? Like, the way we say taking credit for someone else's work. Sure. Yes, I know at the end of the day, you're the boss, you're the leader and all that. But how did you not kill the visibility of what your team was doing so that it doesn't come out like you're the one who is doing? Because I see that also a lot, where sometimes leaders or managers will make everyone else feel like, but my people are not working. Until sometimes we even say, but if I go, these people will flop. So how did you balance that?
To be sincere with you, I've been all in business development, whereby performance and sales targets is the most thing. So the moment I got the position, first few months, of course, I never stopped what I was doing.
Yes.
Although I'm carrying around the other team members. And one of the issue, will I say I felt a little bit challenged then, is to delegate. Delegation in such a way that even the customers I was dealing with, I have to delegate to my staff. So
you wanted to hold everything and do it.
I wanted to hold everything. And such a way, I fully agree with you. The first 2 months you feel, okay, I need to make sure this thing works. But as you still have other roles to do, you find you are overwhelmed. So at that time, because the first month I was not able to delegate, I was still, the portfolio I was dealing with, I'm still dealing with it, and I'm leading other team. So the key issue which I did first is to agree to let go and delegate everything. And I had a challenge with it because I felt that maybe my team members are not that competent to deal with what you're not going to do the customer
to do things the way they are used to talk to them.
And at that time, trust now became an issue as a leader to my staff. Though I've delegated, but I'll still follow up to see whether did you still do what you were supposed to do. And until it reached a point whereby one of my staff told me, Vincent, kama umeniambia nifanye kitu, you have to let me do it.
So you in some sort you micromanaged?
In a way, micromanage. And I came to realize now this thing is bringing issues with my staff. And that time I had to let go to delegate. But before I did that, I had to make sure I've trained the team and all of them have understood all the process flow when it comes to dealing with the customers and everything. So had a clear standard operating procedure of every process that need to be done. And now from there, I will not challenge the team. I will audit the process to be able to say, okay, are they doing, if you're dealing with a customer, have you followed what is supposed to be done? And now from there was a lot of room for improvement from everyone. And later we were able now to achieve. Now I feel I could be able to own, okay, this is now my team. But the first few months it was Vincent leading the team has achieved this. But after some months, it is the team. So
you were able to achieve and actually give credit to the team.
Yeah, I was able to achieve and give credit to the team. And we embrace this culture of it is us, not persons. Of course, when it comes to performance management, there is how you'll be able to sit down with an individual. But now, when it came to achievement of the target, I used to tell them, if you fail, I fail. All of us have failed. If you achieve, all of us have achieved. And that is one of something I've been able to hold dear till today. It is about us as a team, but you leading them. But leading them is also an issue of servanthood. You should be the least among them to support them. But when you feel yourself you're like on top, they will not buy your vision and they will not support you.
Wow. So yours is also a servanthood leadership. Wow, quite interesting. Now let's get to the most difficult ones. I know you've shared your experience of leading your peers and just getting them to understand that, even if you're not going to respect Vincent, but now you have to respect the position.
Sure.
So now give us a scenario where you had to give difficult feedback or even discipline one of your friends who's now become your direct report.
Hey, I have so many.
You can give us one of them or give us the most painful.
It's the most painful.
The hardest. The one that
the hardest. The hardest is the one that I had to let go one of my colleagues.
Who was your friend before you became the boss?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my line of 13 years of leadership, I've experienced let's say 3 painful people. The first one is an employee was not performing well. We tried to improve, performance improvement, training, coaching, until we came to realize it was an attitude issue with an employee. And we had to let him go. And you see now, when you're doing these meetings, especially for performance improvement, you have the manager there, the HR and everything. And who is giving the final verdict?
The manager, the line manager.
The manager is the one who told, what do you think we need to do with this stuff? At that time, it's feel you are looking for the best terms, language to use. I feel we are
very soft.
Very soft. You say, I feel we are not compatible. I don't feel you'll be able to help me achieve the vision of this organization. You have some shortcomings. It was tough. And then later the employee said, I knew it.
I saw it coming.
I saw it coming. And now they blame you. Not even the HR.
Yeah.
They blame you as a manager. And then after that, you have now to go sit down, again, go back to your employees. At the back of their mind, they feel, Vincent, this was his friend. Why did he have to let him go?
And if he's let his friend go, so who am I?
Who am I? So at that time, it was so painful. I remember when I went home, I told my wife, I'm feeling bad. Why?
So it was an issue of performance?
It was an issue of performance and also attitude, and also there's also some issue of gross misconduct. It had so many issues. If it was only performance, I could have tried to work with him, but I had other issues. Even the staff had his own personal issue. So at that time, it was so painful for me. I had to monitor for like 2 days, and then the first one, that was hard. Now the second one, now this stuff, I once worked in one of the companies. We had a very clear rules. When I joined the company, People are misbehaving when it comes to drunkenness. Come to work. Then I was the head of operation. They come to work drunk, and sometimes they leave their employment. So I sat down with the director. I told him, now we need to be clear, making sure everyone, these are some of the rules we have to implement together with the HR. So we changed, we sent a memo, everyone signed, agreed, okay, going forward, these are the new culture we want to inculcate. So we just happened, we had a trip, we went to Mombasa, some clients, and one of the employees decided to take Munazi. So now when we are coming back on the airplane, he misbehaved. So when we went back to the office the following day, and he's my friend, it was very easy. We had to let him go. Even the director
because
said,
of drunkenness.
And now he's my friend, and he's agreeing. But he said, Vincent, give me another opportunity.
Wow.
Till today, that guy has an issue with me. Okay, Vincent was my friend and had to let me go. And I came to realize in leadership, sometimes you make very painful decisions in line with the rules and the regulation of the company, and you have to stick to it. Sometimes staff comes. There only be some assistant or something, and you have to refuse it. You refuse firmly, but you try to be as soft as possible to them, so them to be able to see, okay, this is not Vincent, but this is how the business need to be done. So I have so many incidences, but dealing with peers, especially people you're on the same level, and then you have to make a firm decision. Nowadays, I don't have a problem with it because it's business. And rules and regulation has to be followed. By those two incidences, it was very hard for me.
Do they still haunt you up to now?
No.
Okay.
Currently, I know I was doing the right thing.
The right thing.
The right thing. But the first days I could feel, is there another way? Until I remember the one day we were having a meeting, the HR even asked them, could you just excuse me and you do the meeting? Told me you are the leader.
You're the boss, you have to be there. Yeah.
And now from there, I got the confidence of making those decisions, and you don't have feelings attached to it.
Wow.
It's business.
So how long did it take you to get to that level, Vincent? Because that's also a big challenge for first-time managers. Getting to the level where you say, like, you know what, it's just work, nothing personal.
It's nothing personal.
You can terminate anyone, even your closest friend, say, I was just doing my work. How long did it take you in the span of 13 years of your leadership experience?
It takes time. You keep on growing, developing, slowly, pole, until you are getting not used to it, but you are getting to do the right thing.
You normalize it.
You normalize doing the right thing. But one thing I normally do, you see, for you to reach a point whereby you are letting go an employee, you normally see the signs. By far, you see the signs. So what you do, I normally do most of the time. Sit down with an employee, get to understand. You even narrow down to personal. Do you have any personal issue that we can talk and help each other? Or secondly, do you have anything challenge you may face? Maybe should I take you to a counselor to be open? Maybe you feel you're not open to me as your supervisor. And at that time, when it comes to now you need to part ways, it is at that point of Nasema, I've tried my best. But now, here we have to part ways. But you reach a point where you normalize it because it is work, nothing personal. And though it's always is a very painful. Even if it is work, it's always very painful.
Wow. Thank you. I think that's quite insightful. Now we want to just get to another very difficult part of it. You have talked about challenges. You've mentioned at the start you had challenges with delegation. You've had challenges with, of course, managing people that used to be your friends. So would you tell us what has been the biggest? I know you've talked about having to terminate your friends and all that. Any other biggest mistake you did as a first-time manager? What has been your biggest mistake, and what has been your lowest moment, especially as a leader?
There is one company, then I was not a first-time manager, but I believe that was the biggest mistake I
You're still in leadership.
Till today, I still feel. Okay, you go to a company, you have not understood the culture of how things operate. And then I used to be very talkative, and then nowadays I learn to hold my words. And the biggest mistake I did is to discuss my boss with my junior. There was some expectation he was supposed to do, but he was not doing. So I found myself discussing with my juniors. What did my juniors do? They went and told me. Imagine we had to part ways with them, boss. Because now this is where I talked about emotional intelligence. For him, he could not feel, how can I stay with one of my managers who is discussing me with my juniors. So that one was a very painful lesson I learned. And I came to realize that just discuss work. In business, in workplace, there is that phrase that says, no one is there to save you. You're on your own.
You're on your own.
In this sense, as a leader, you are governed by the rules and regulations, the team you are leading, and the expectation the top management has given you. You may be free with your employees and everything, but to what extent? Because at that time, I thought I'm having friends, and they were good friends. You know, you have come and created friends, only to know they went to the extent of even recording me.
Come on. Wow.
At that time, I came to realize, these are not my friends. Maybe they were envy of the position I was holding.
Yeah.
And at that time, I came to realize now, as a leader, when you're dealing with your staff, just be formal and know to what extent do you share what you deal with it. So that is something that I really felt I've made a mistake. And the second one, in the line of financial institution, especially when you're dealing with microfinance and everything, you find we are giving out loans. There are a lot of terms and conditions you need to do. So a customer was referred to me. I'm the senior in the branch and everything, for me to fully disclose all the information when it comes to a loan agreement. I felt if I disclose everything, probably they will not take the loan. So, seek better information that the customer started paying. Then data came back.
And they realized now the interest was what you did not say.
I did not say. At that time, and you claim to be the manager. I really felt. I really felt bad. And now the employees are looking at you. This is our leader. And from there on, I learned to be just truthful, honest with my staff, with my customers, and with every stakeholder I'm dealing with. Because just by the virtue of position you have been given, you come with that responsibility. You're presenting the company, the image of the company, you stand for the values of the company. And at that time, I felt, no. And I came to realize honesty is a very key thing, especially on that scenario, the example I've given. And also now, dealing with stuff, have that boundary. To what extent do you share with them?
Wow. Even if they're your friends, guys, to what extent do you share? What do you share with your direct reports? What do you share with your colleagues? I speak about that every other time. I tell people, you know what? Your colleagues are not your friends. You can make friends at the workplace, but making genuine friends at the workplace is rare. It's extremely rare. So know who you share with what, and know to what extent do you share. So taking it back 13 years down the line, Vincent, what is the one thing that you'll do differently? Today, if we took you back to the first time you are a first-time manager, 13 years down the line, what will you do differently?
What I'll do differently? I believe to just delegate. When you're given a position, create trust with the team and delegate. Because nikibeba mzigo for long. You see, and I've come to, how will I say? You're given a position and you feel like I own the position, this company
if I go, the company will close.
The company will close. So, if I was taken back, it's the two things. To trust the team and to delegate. Which I believe till today most leaders feel they have that problem there. Because nilibeba mzigo for long. And I've learned that to trust the team and to delegate.
So in these 13 years, maybe just tell us, we also want to test your leadership. And I always tell people, I don't care for how long you have led. But if you can stay with a team for more than 3 years, or even 3 to 5 years. And by the time you're leaving, even one of your direct reports cannot take your role. You're not a leader.
Sure.
You know, you've been the head of operations, you've been the branch manager. Today, if you've stayed in that company for 5 years, Vincent, and you leave and your senior relationship officer or your relationship manager cannot take up that role, I'll question your leadership. Because leadership is about building, it's about creating people who will take spaces after you. So how many people have you had in this span of 13 years that have grown to positions that are higher than yours now, or that have grown to the same position where you are?
To be sincere with you, I have a lot. Some ended up even being my bosses.
Wow.
Some ended up even being my bosses. And some come back. They tell me, Vincent, you remember those reports you were training us, you were so tough on us. I still use them till today. So I can say I'm proud of the leaders I've been able to bring up. And there are so many. And even currently where I am, even if I'm not there, everything moves swiftly. Every workplace I've gone to, the first thing I do is to make sure if Vincent is not there, can the business move? If one person is not there, can the business move? So I've been able to raise more leaders. It's hard, but it requires a lot of being intentional to making sure that you have molded, you have trained and made sure you have other people who can who after you and who can be able to take up your position. And I fully agree with you. When you find yourself as a leader that you are the only source of information and decision, everything cannot be made.
And when you leave, the company is like at a standstill, you know.
Nothing moves. That's not the best way to do it. Because the company, there is life to the company beyond you as a leader and also as a founder or as an owner, because you have that issue of succession planning, coaching, and I still go back. When I was a first leader, I never had a mentor. You know, most of the time you make sure you have a mentor or a shadow, someone you are trying to mentor. So throughout, I make sure everywhere I am, I have someone I'm mentoring, because probably to make sure they don't do the same mistake I did. And I believe that is something all leaders should be able to do. Mentorship, training, coaching. And for my case, I have so many people. Now they are my peers. We sit down. You say this. See, sometimes they joke, ask her what Vincent used to say. And I'm proud of it, and it is something you keep on doing each and every day, because you bring up leaders, because that's the best way to do it.
Wow, yeah. I think that's insightful, because as I said, if you stay in a place as a leader for 5 years and by the time you're leaving, the company cannot even promote one of your immediate direct reports, then there is a question to ask. Wow. So let me take you back to when we started this conversation. I know you mentioned about being baptized by fire. Baptism by fire, you know. I think that's the most quite common in many places. So do you feel, from where you see it, from your experience of 13 years, that companies are actually doing enough to prepare first-time leaders in the organizations?
They are not.
Talk to us about it.
But most companies are not doing enough. And I believe this now goes even to the HRs, who custodian of culture in most organizations. Make sure you have a proper structure in case someone has been promoted. What is the induction? Or do you have a management training program? How is the coaching? Who is going to hold their hands to help them navigate the leadership position? Because sometimes you are left on your own. You make mistakes, you readjust, you learn, you reflect again. And in the process of learning, you have wasted a lot of time. So for most organizations, I'll be able to say, let's have create a structure on how do you train, how do you embody,
how do we help people transition
to leadership positions. And I believe most companies, you find they have that training for leadership, maybe some courses and everything. Others have management trainee program, so that if someone, even if they grow their radar, they end up being in leadership, they don't have that problem. If I give you like a small story, I've ever been a CEO of a company.
Wow, okay.
So I just moved from the head of operation to the CEO, which has board structure. no one, when I joined the company, no one trained me on how to do board reports, how to prepare for a board meeting. And it was so tough for me. The first board meeting, I went and told, hey, the board members are asking, did you do the right hiring? And no one trained me because when I was going to the organization, the CEO was not there. So I just came to fill a vacant position. And the board of directors are busy people. So I ended up now, I had to seek services of a consultant to train me on how to deal with board minutes, how to deal with board communications. And I felt, leadership may talk only on the first time leadership, but it goes up to the top.
Up to the topmost, yeah.
How do organizations plan for every position if someone is coming to fill a position? What structures have been placed in place to help them settle very fast? Because in the process, you will still waste about like 4 months and you are being paid for you to settle. And probably if they could have trained you or have proper induction program, you could have just spent like 2-3 weeks and you hit the ground running. So I believe in leadership in any position, it is the imperative for every organization to have clear, well laid down program to help leaders to settle down. Have a weekly check-in. How are you faring on? How are you progressing? What challenges are you having? Other than just being given a position and you're on your own to navigate, to make mistakes. And when you make mistakes and have financial implication to the company, no one will be there to understand you. You are a new leader. But those are some things that you can be able to avoid.
Yeah. Well, you've talked about something I really love. That just when you're giving us your first experience with the board, nobody ever prepares some of us for these things. You get there. Somebody was telling me the first time they got to a board meeting, they called the chair with their name. Yeah. They called, and everyone was like, okay, we are talk happy. Sure. So it happens because they were not prepared. But I like the fact that you realize that, oh no, here I'm going to mess. And you got a consultant. So,
at my cost.
Yeah, at your cost. So that is the best investment you can ever make is investing in yourself.
Investing in yourself.
So talk to us about that. In the 13 years, now you're polished, you've really learned, you've gotten to an HOD position, you've become a CEO. Talk to us about the role of personal investment. There's that the company can do. I know we've talked about our training. We've talked about having a well coaching and mentorship structure even within the company to help managers through the transition period. But there's that part that you also need to do. We have the 80-20 rule where 80% should be you and 20% should be now the company or the third party. Talk to us about investing in yourself. We always say that one of the best investments you can ever make is to invest in yourself. So talk to us how personal investment, investing in yourself has helped you to grow into your leadership in the span of 13 years.
Thank you so much. I'm here because I made a deliberate effort to invest in myself. And what I normally do when I started, you have a period of retrospection. Vincent, what am I good at? What are the weaknesses? And to be sincere with you, when I started, I even had to approach my team members one by one. As a leader, then bado hakuna hiyo boundary kubwa. What do you think I need to improve? And I compare this to be sincere. This is ABCD. Now I made a decision, all the things that I feel I'm not good at, to seek training on. If it's being provided by the company, well and good. If it is not, you still pay for it. And also, I also look for mentors, people who hold your hands to help you to navigate the field of leadership. And done a lot of training courses, podcast listening. Also following, I also believe trying to learn from the industry peers of what they are doing, the mistake they have ever done. Because I believe in sharing story, you get to learn from them, and also you don't do the same mistake. So I've been able to invest on myself, especially on training, paid for courses, and still others I'm still doing today. Because as a leader, it's you to be able to look at in a 360 view. What are the areas I need to improve? Because If you're not true to yourself as a leader, you can't lead the other people.
Of course.
And you can't lie to yourself. You have a problem with the temper issues, you need maybe to go do courses of emotional intelligence, you're able to know how to deal with it, understand your personality as a person, and so that as you grow up the ladder, you're able to read people and you're able to understand. Because you will find yourself on the top management, you have other leaders below you. If they make mistakes and you have not understood their whole aspect, sometimes you'll be able to blame them. But you'll be able to be in a position to be able to tell them, for you, I believe, you need to do a training on ABCD. So it is, and I believe it's a mindset of learning everything. And you can't say you are know-it-all. You can't say that you know it all as a leader. It's a mindset of keeping learning every day. You get new things, new challenges every day. You learn. There are some you can be able to sort it. Others will feel, okay, this one, I need to seek an external assistance, maybe attend a training, maybe a coaching program, and it helps you to be an authentic, bold, and all-around leader.
Wow. That's so interesting. I love the part of you don't know it all, and that is what kills most of leaders, because when you are in a position of power, not everyone is bold enough to become vulnerable, to actually show people that, anyway, this one, I don't know. So sometimes you're sitting there, you don't know, but you feel like letting people know is exposing yourself to your juniors. So being bold enough to accept that I don't know everything, listening to your direct reports. And I like the fact that you're saying you even had to get your direct reports one by one to ask them, hey, by the way, to ask them, like, if you look at me, what is it, where do I need to improve?
And I believe, especially for most leaders, I'll be able to tell them, you will not look inferior if your junior explain something to you, or they may find you may be leading a team who are very experienced more than you.
I know.
So I believe in just ask them. Even when I have my meeting, what do you think? And sometimes I make sure I've taken an idea from the employees. It will not have been the best, but to make them feel, okay, if I bring ideas on board, they'll be incorporated to the decision. So,
and by the way, sorry to cut you short, just still when we're at that, have you ever led a team where you had extremely smart people, and how did it make you feel intimidated?
The first days I felt intimidated, and later I came to feel, okay, now for me to succeed here is to make them part and parcel of the decision making. So you want to make a decision on something, you say, okay, we need to do ABCD. What are your suggestions? So they suggest, and then you end up picking the best. The only problem comes when you're leading very smart people. Is you first of all pretend you know everything, and second,
and they know you don't know.
They know you don't know, and second thing, it's whereby you try to discredit their decision, their ideas. And I found most leaders, they have that challenge. Having smart juniors doesn't mean they don't respect your position. But how do you utilize them at the well-being of the company and also to help you achieve your overall objectives? And you find, especially when people are in topmost management and you have other line supervisors directing to you, you find that those supervisors, managers, they have very brilliant ideas. But probably if the ideas is implemented, you feel when they take the credit, your position is threatened. And I believe as a leader is whereby you'll be able to embrace everyone, their ideas. It's for the well-being of the company. As long as it's not a personal issue and it's for the growth of the company, we should have that culture of embracing. So I've led people who are smart. And the only thing is always, especially when you're leading smart people, acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. It's not weakness to say.
Help them feel important.
Help them feel important. Appreciate what they're able to do. And utilize it for the well-being of your company. Because we have so many companies with very smart employees, but they are underutilized.
Wamefinyiliwa.
Their services are sought outside. And they are paid premium for it. And they are in your company.
That's very true. Wow. I think that's quite eye-opening. Very smart people in most companies, but their services are sought from outside at very premium packages because they've not been given a platform or a chance to show what they can do. I'm throwing out to every manager, every employer, every founder that is outside there that first know who your people are, give smart people a chance to shine. And of course, sometimes you don't need to get this what they can do, these services that they can do at a premium cost outside there. You can actually give them a chance to create and innovate internally. So we're almost coming to the end of this. I think it's been quite interesting. I don't even want to end it, but of course we're gonna have to end it because everything with a beginning has an end, right? Sure. So as we come to the close, I want you to, there's a first-time manager, there's a leader that is out there, have been watching this, just learning from your story and your experience, and relating. You know, they've been struggling with delegation, they've been struggling with giving feedback, creating boundaries, sure, being humble enough to go back and apologize to their juniors when sure, they honestly feel that they've crossed the line. I want you just to tell them one thing, you know, as they prepare or as they walk through that journey. Just look at the camera and tell that leader or that first-time manager who is watching.
Okay, thank you so much. If you are a first-time manager, I'll be able to tell you this. Leadership is a journey and not a destination. You lead with empathy and you build trust among your team. Create that mindset of learning each and every day. Acknowledge mistakes that you have made and purpose to be a better leader each and every day.
Wow. Purpose to be a better leader each and every day. Leadership is not a destination, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
Pole pole, you grow, utafika too. So thank you so much, Vincent. It's been a good conversation. These are the conversations that we are having here at this podcast, Careers with Nelly, where I share with you job search strategies, career development tips, and I bring amazing guests like Vincent to come and share with us the things that happen on a day-to-day basis at our workplaces. And guys, you know my mission is to help you build rewarding and fulfilling careers, because I believe in creating workplaces where you don't survive but you thrive. Before I give you my very last line, I want to give it back to Vincent just to tell you where you can find him, share with us his social media handles, and of course also how he can help you through this journey as a first-time manager.
Thank you so much. You'll be able to find me on social media, that is Vincent Munderu, especially on LinkedIn, whereby we talk about debt to help you fight your debt, improve your finances, and succeed. You can reach out to me. I'll be able to discuss. If you have any question, we'll be able to discuss and see how we can be able to help each other.
Thank you. So thank you so much, guys. If you've watched this up to this level, then please remember to subscribe, share this content, share this video, like, comment, you know, share it with your friends, or recommend this channel, because it really helps us also just to grow and to get this good news and good message that you've watched reach as many people as possible. If you're in your middle level career, I offer career coaching services. I help you through career transitions. I offer job search strategy services, and look out for me on LinkedIn, where I share everything careers, I share everything personal development. But if you're stuck in your career, feel free to reach out to me through my email that is provided on this platform. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in another video.